You can't sell it. So you have basically about another 2 elections that you Democrats desperately need to play extremely good defense, not even offense. There's certain Republicans that are kind of weak, but now it's becoming very clear. As long as it's understood that which is deregulation, so that a younger generation doesn't have such high costs to get into starting a business. Doing things that are going to make sure that the price of business insurance is low enough that, and insurance for the plant and stuff like that is low enough that people can kind of start their own thing and do their own thing. And now the idea that there will be no social safety network, actually, in fact, we're starting to see something that all you've got to do is get the wrong attention on the internet. People will make you a millionaire. Completely voluntarily. Think about this. There's handicapped people that I bet if there was a properly done, just simply, like, so a person made sure that, okay, we're going to raise this for this person. Here's some video footage of them. Here's what they want to do. Here's the area they live in. That people would give them enough money that they would be able to put in some decent investments, and they would have fundamentally a fund that would keep them out of poverty for their lives. They would probably have to have people care for them. There might even be some kind of local stipends for the handicapped, or people who help them that are a part of how this would even occur. But that this simple we have every indicator that people will give to a cause that is charitable and good if you give them the opportunity. It was just very, very difficult before. You couldn't digitally transfer people money. And now we're even seeing that there's some of these companies like PayPal that just arbitrarily, they just don't like something about you, and so suddenly you can't make money. You can't transfer. No, sorry. That privilege is for people who don't make us feel anger feelings toward you, which tells you a lot about how this really works. Everything that the right has said. All you got to do is criticize Jewish people, and you won't be able to send money. And that there's all these, oh no, please, no. Okay, I'm going around this. I think I hear a bullhorn. Oh no, damn. Oh, I'm going to be intercepted by Tardos or something. No, what is going on? Okay, so anyway. And what I mean is like high school kids, like doing something or something. I don't know, but it looks like I'm wrong. I'm hearing things from different directions, bouncing off of surfaces that I'm like, oh, okay, no, I'm not about to run into a bunch of retarded high school kids with a bullhorn. That would suck. That would really suck. I avoid people. I strictly abide by the avoiding of people methodology. People, avoid them. If you can, avoid the humans. So, anyway, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, got a pain. See, got a pain. Anyway, so you can't really sell the left when you show up to things with masks on. Everyone knows who Nick Fuentes is. Nick Fuentes goes to a McDonald's somewhere. He goes and he gets junk food somewhere. At some point he does something. People have gone and have messed with him. The right gets physically messed with at their homes. The left don't own homes. But it's also that you have to sell that you think you should show up places and mess with people. You have to sell that. You have to make this now make sense to like a 35-year-old guy who's got a normal professional job. He should show up someplace and mess with somebody because of dudes who want to wear dresses. And you're not going to be able to sell that. I just guarantee you, no one's buying that. No one. You can try to sell it, and I know there's probably like a kind of a humor. Somebody might be like, "Well, I mean, they sell zombie drug, and it's but you're trying to sell this to a 35-year-old professional, someplace to vote for that for the next 4 to 6 years." And it's like, yeah, for 4 to 6 years, you can get pulled out of your car. You could have the traffic stopped. And when you ask politely, could you please let me drive? I need a pee-pee. They're going to show you the diversity of the various sneakers and boots they wear. So you could have that for 4 years. These people could do whatever they like to you, and they could get off because this judge is elected for this many number of years. See, you got to sell that. And this is becoming harder and harder thing to sell. You're finding that this is a product or a service only about 20% of the society wants, but you're insisting that 80%, the rest of the 80% pay for it, and and not only pay for it. When they didn't want this service of watching somebody, a rapacious maniac, laugh their way out of court, that service, that we're all supposed to now cheer it on and huzzah, this is justice. I mean, maybe to Ali, maybe to Uthman, but I'm sorry, this is not justice in a society that Shakespeare is appreciated in. And that's how that's going to be. And there's not really a way around this. You're not going to be able to sell your version of justice because nobody can. It comes across as at best arbitrary. At best, it's just arbitrarily. Somebody who's exceedingly violent and intimidating gets away with what they want to get away with because somebody just feels like it. Sometimes you just got to break all the eggs and not make an omelet. I mean, omelets maybe are bad for you. Just keep breaking eggs. I don't know how you sell that. I don't get an omelet, but you guys, I'm paying you to break eggs. There's all kinds of funny, clever ways of mocking what you guys end up providing society. And the beautiful part is, this is the thing. I knew something was wrong with San Francisco because of George Herbert writing about the God Emperor, the God Emperor's paradise worlds. These worlds that utterly languish in the severest of poverty because they only exist for people to go to. And wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at this. That's nice. That's nice. Oh, yeah. Now let's take a look. Oh, that's classy. See, that's what you want. Here's another good example. You want this because you can walk slowly by it and enjoy it with somebody. Somebody might ask, who's that? And it would be, oh, well, that's Confucius. But that's what you want. People walk slowly and look at the curios, whether they buy or not. That's how you get a city center to survive. When there aren't the curio shops, because masked people might decide that they want to just ruin things, that's when everybody loses. You can't sell that. I can sell curios. I can't sell destroying the curio shop. You got to kind of do some real education to get people to want to do that. They got to get very educated. So, I don't know how you guys are going to pull it off in the next 2 voting cycles. Because you need those next 2 voting cycles. Without those next 2 voting cycles, that's taking a good chunk out of Republican leads. You're not even playing defense then. You see, that's the thing. Is even if you defend, it's gonna be brutal. If you lose the next 2 big, this actually changes so many of the numbers, and that's the next 20 years possible. Because what everyone's figured out is that where a lot of the money comes from, where a lot of the money goes, that ends up somehow benefiting the Democratic Party and activists. Now, here's the last thing I'm going to tie it off with, that I'd forgotten before. Why are there not the arrests? One of the levels I wanted to touch on. An example is the Chaz Chop security guards. Okay, so Justin Trouble, he actually has all of the footage from the various security cameras that the city of Seattle had around the Chaz Chop, and there is no footage of the shooting, but there is audio, and you clearly hear multiple weapons. These also include long rifles being fired at the car, and then you hear a voice clearly say something about a person still being alive, and you hear one shot go off. Now the thing is, one of the autopsies on one of these teenagers did say, in fact, that there was steeple marks on his head. So he was summarily executed by the Chaz Chop security. But they got supposedly somebody who this person who had a beef with these guys or something like that, something along these lines. I'm wondering if that was this Instagram rapper who was dumb enough at the moment to get on camera and talk about this shooting, and that he ends up, I'm thinking he's the one who got nicked for it, and because also of the forensic evidence that would go along with this, being that he had actual blood of the victims on his hoodie that he points out in the video that he's interviewed in, like a dummy. He could not have been firing a pistol and 2 long rifles all on his own. That was, I'm just guessing. And then suddenly sounding like an entirely different person when he's yelling at this guy before this guy gets executed on the audio, because it's a very different voice. This is all the Chaz Chop stuff. The reason why this vanished is because everything in Seattle and Portland, the police, the fire department, all of their cloud, it all went down. It all vanished. It all vanished. This is why none of these people ended up in jail. Nobody has really looked into this much. I think there's reporters that have tried to get some kind of answer. How did all of your guys' phones, everything, I mean, really, I'm very serious. like Mayor Jenny or whatever her name was and all that. Quite seriously, this would be almost 100 people just in Portland alone. All their phones, all the iPhones, nothing's on them. All gone. No memory. No memory of it, anything. Now, who are these? Why the security at Chaz Chop? What do I remember about this? That sounds so familiar. Oh, yeah. You learned about the security guys who are the security guys at the Chaz Chop if you read the Rolling Stone article on them. This was a Rolling Stone article that got into about their time in Kurdistan and them fighting jihadis in Kurdistan. So if then people go, wait, this, I remember something about this. Yeah, they were the guys who were dancing around in front of Antifa flags, supposedly in Kurdistan, in drag. And so this made some huge point apparently. But the key thing is that there's a detailed history of how these were people who the government never seemed to have a problem with this at any point. This was even during Trump's time, if I remember correctly, that a lot of this happened. And so these guys end up, and so I like bringing up the whole thing of, oh, well, they fought for a foreign military fundamentally, and nothing happened to them. The reason I like bringing that up, at about the same time, a lot of people who mind this channel, you'll remember this. Who got arrested for fighting in Ukraine? Oh, those guys from the Rise Above movement, who everyone remember. Oh yeah, the famous scene of the MAGA flag on the beach in California, and these guys getting into a real nasty row with a couple of dudes from Antifa. Yeah. So those guys, they end up in the early days fighting for Ukraine, when all of the guys who were going over to Ukraine were the guys like the Rise Above movement, who were white nationalists. But everybody seemed to forget all of this. And this is why you're not seeing the arrests that you want. The government started playing around with lunatics, and now there's probably all kinds of spookies and glowies with their fingertips all over rapists, fraudsters, loonies, white nationalists, and they don't want anybody doing a lot of investigation into this. They don't want to get caught running ops on normal people with these loonies who they were in some way encouraging or funding or something. And then it gets to, how would they be funding this? What's the budget coming from to gin up loonies and to spin up these wackos and stuff, to do all this wacko shit all the time? Because it takes money to do this. It takes money to get them organized. It takes money to get to get in their head and have time to do that. You know, it's not like these people are running like, you know, workers' lodges or something. You know, it's not like there's some network of woodworkers of the wood world halls that are having these meetings so that everybody could start planning the revolution and they could sing old-fashioned working songs. You know, that's probably not happening. It's probably something far less organic and much more fake and gay that would, you know, be, of course, them, you know, on, you know, the you know, at campus, you know, that's being organized by supposedly these people called professors. And that's what the interesting part. So what is this budget of these networks of professors that gin up leftist violent people and have ruined the Democratic Party? It's fascinating to see how people like CNN and MSNBC will make this attempt at, oh my God, the Trump movement has damaged the Republicans so much. The damaging damages. Oh, it's like an AOE weapon that's been used against, the forces of Putlerini, and, can you believe it? No. Actually, when we don't believe it, and we bet, I bet this is bullshit, we keep ending up, yeah, that's bullshit. Actually, Donald Trump is incredibly popular. And now it's becoming clear, everybody wants to see Antifa just get mobbed. We want to see these people identified and frog marched out of their jobs. We want to see these people arrested in the room that they're paying only $100 for at their mom's house. We want, everybody knows that it's I'm following the rules. I have nothing against anybody, but I don't have a cause, and I'm just following the rules. There's a lot of people like that now. I'm tired. I don't mess with people. I just follow the rules. Why are these guys allowed to do whatever the fuck they like and that they walk? The big part is how over and over and over again these guys get to take the fucking walk. That's the part that's really messing with people. And that's an area that that's going to, oh, right on. And that's the part that's going to be really dangerous for everyone. Okay, most futurists, when they write a future history, the big chaotic period of time, that's when the judges and the lawyers are wiped out. Even Star Trek gets this idea of the world became a place of these fake courts that you could just accuse people and you were guilty with it, and you had to prove your innocence, and and it was it was silly. It was kind of a silly, but they made their point. They really did make their point about what they were trying to get at. That's quite the opposite of justice. And so, squirrel. Squirrel. Oh, he wants to play with me. I don't have time to play with you, squirrel. I must really disappoint them. Come on. Chase me. Come on. But then, humans don't. God dang. You got no skills. Squirrels are probably using that phrase all the time, skill issue, all the time. They just look at everything around them. They're like, skill issue, as they're spinning around on the side of a tree. But anyway, so how you end up selling what really is, you guys are consistently violent. You could be trusted to be violent. And that now almost all police forces just let you do it. And if it's Portland or Seattle, the idea is that it's time for Portland, time for the communist violence. And why would anyone have a business there? Why would you have children there? You're going to sink these cities. And it's like what Aaron Clarey once said. He goes, oh, no, and don't worry, some other place will become the place for them. It'll become the new town for them to go to, and they'll ruin that place, like locusts. And so there's too much information about you Marxist-Leninists out there and what really ends up happening when people abide your ideas. That you're going to have a really hard time selling this. The young that are into it They're just not the high achieving kind of. They're just not. They're not where it's at. People who are into that are not where it's at. So it's and you have to secure something within the next two election cycles, because by the third and fourth, then it's the presidency, and then that'll be it. And once and that one, there's you have nobody lined up for it, which has been one of the key things about kind of the issue with the baby boomers, that I was so glad to see how Trump changed that. That what he did is he went out of his way to cultivate. He had a contest for the protege. The Democrats did not do that, and I said this for decades. They're making proteges. There's some fields you have to create a protege. There's no way around it. It requires so much knowledge, so much expertise, that you have to have somebody who's been who knows the game, and really understands even a lot of the master's techniques and the master's tricks. And the Democrats haven't taken that seriously enough. And so I don't know how you're going to sell it.